Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Video Game Choo podcast. I'm your host, Scott. John came back to the podcast and then disappeared. He went to CEO or something. He was only here once and then decided to leave again. What is he up to? Who knows? He's experiencing fighting games. He'll be back again later. I'm the only person here, as you can tell. I don't know what these images I'm seeing around me are, but they're very weird. I believe they represent people. I'm not sure. Is there anyone here with me today? Hello, Christine. How are you today? I I see you're currently I see you're streaming from Final Fantasy 14. What's going on here? Okay. There we go. They be there in quotes, yeah. I've got a couple other people who both appear to be outside. Maverick, what's going on with you? Elvie, you appear to be extremely outside. Oh, I did finally. Y'all already know this, but I did finally manage to secure at least an order for a PlayStation 5. I had to pay $12.50 to Walmart in order to be in their exclusive Walmart program, so I could stand in line virtually for a PlayStation 5. But I did manage to get it, and it is going to be delivered in 12 days, apparently. Yeah, exactly. December 16th is what we call the Gamers' Christmas. Speaking of games, we've all been playing a bunch of games. I suppose we should probably start with Christine because I know Final Fantasy 14 is the extremely hot new thing right now. So what is going on in the world of Eorzea? Oh, finally! This is a very unique form of gender discrimination. Girls will never wear pants, but finally the femboys will thrive. Uh oh, hold on. Mora is saying, can't hear anyone but Scott. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. All right. They should be turned on
oops.
now. I'm so sorry about that. Hopefully it had all that recorded. You know what? Let's wind it. We'll wind it all back. We'll
Let's
take it
let's.
all back. Hold on just one
Damn it.
second. I think.
What the
Thank you
hell?
so much, Mora. Hold on. Let's just go back to the loading screen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Video Game Choo podcast, which works. This is real. It does work. You should be able to hear people. I know that's a strange thing to assume, but that's just how things work nowadays. Hey, let me quickly reintroduce everyone. My name's Scott. I'm here with Christine, who's very much enjoying the Final Fantasy XIV experience.
Oh, very much so.
As you can see well, I guess you're not really dancing now. You are posing, and I really respect it.
Yeah. So sometimes you just have to, you can't dance all the time.
And of course, we've got Maverick. Maverick, what's up?
Sir, I'm outside. My good sir, I'm outside.
LV, you also appear to be outside. What's going on?
I'm still online for the PS5.
We're all
very
waiting.
cold. Someone please send me a jacket to the Arctic. I don't know what the address is. It's just to the Arctic. They'll know. The Postal Service will figure it out.
You gotta send it to the girls in that place farther than the universe.
You're right. That's it. Just send it to one of them. They'll forward it to me somehow. I'll find them.
I believe we have the intro we already started recorded, so it should just cut in fine.
What the hell?
Christine, I want you to tell me all about what's going on in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker.
Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker is finally out in early access, and I am currently on it and not leaving it because it takes about 5 hours to log in because there are so many damn people playing the game right now, which is always fun. But it's been very enjoyable so far. I love running around, seeing lots of dudes in maid outfits. I still can't wear khakis on my character, which sucks because I need the khakis to go with the Hawaiian shirt for the full lesbian energy that I want to go for. The sunglasses alone just don't quite do it. But no, it's really been nice. The Catboy apocalypse has happened. Everyone's a bunny now. And the game's story, I am not super far into it because I have been taking my time, and oh boy, everyone talks about Shadowbringers as being the best Final Fantasy. I don't know if that's going to hold up for much longer the way things are going. In the first 5 hours of story, I cried 6 times. It's a lot. It's a lot. And mechanically, it's so much deeper than it's ever been. I actually had fun in a dungeon, which the dungeon content is normally really boring once you really figure out the game. So it's really nice to have that actually feel like there's complexity and depth to it, more than it has in the past.
Neat. Is there anything particularly you're enjoying about the story or anything? I asked because I already brought up the Shadowbringers trailer, and I am showing it on stream, or the Endwalker trailer. So I really want to hear your thoughts on it so far.
Well, so far, and as I said, I'm not actually super far in. I've been trying to take my time with it because I've actually been enjoying playing other video games than Final Fantasy XIV over the last few weeks.
Extremely fair.
Because I'll readily admit that was the only game I was playing for the span of a month of just, hey, that's all I want to do. And then I was no, I need to put more time into other games and really a lot of other things. But the way I am enjoying it right now, story-wise, it is dark. There is some really, really dark shit that happens. But it still comes at it from a place of hope, which is what I've always liked about the game's story overall, is even your villains you can kind of understand them. whereas it's not just about murdering God. So it's very not a traditional Final Fantasy in that
Of course.
department. I mean, you still murder God in the end. So I'm guessing this one's also going to end with murdering God because every other expansion has. Well, one of them ended with murdering the Pope who became God. So yeah, I'm just really excited for it. The new jobs feel great. Most of the job changes that they've made feel really good, except for my main job, which is Monk, which kind of sucks now.
I've been hearing from my roommate Stu, who apparently likes Dark Knight, that they have ruined Dark Knight again.
Oh, the Dark Knight changes are pure butt. It already has the worst invulnerability move of any tank in the game, and they somehow made it worse by removing its self-healing ability, whereas every other tank got more self-healing options. They took away Dark Knight's best one. I don't know. That was a change that was like, probably want to walk that one back, guys.
Right.
Yeah, like that's been fun. Your roommates Stu and I are in a raid group together. And we actually cleared the tier, and I think it's both of our
Nice.
first times clearing an entire tier of raids, which is like the coolest thing that I was able to do that with, a fellow chooch reader. One of our community is part of that group. It rules.
Nice.
It absolutely rules. But yeah, Final Fantasy 14, still a good game. I still have an otter fishing with me, and in about a week when I finally get to that point in the story, I'm going to fish with my goddamn otter on the fucking moon.
Oh, cool.
I get to fish in space.
It did look like there was some serious moon stuff going on with this.
Oh yeah. There's
awesome.
It's Final Fantasy IV. It's so good.
Anything else you want to add about Final Fantasy 14 before we move on? I know
really.
Maverick said he had some questions.
Yeah. Oh, if Maverick has questions, I can answer questions. Unless they're about story after the first and second zone, which are the first two areas you get access to at the same time. But
shit, nah. I mean, listen, good to know that heads up about the monk, because I think last I had played Final Fantasy 14, I was like just getting to the point where it's like, oh hey, you can consider a job.
Oh yeah.
So good to know that it's kind of buns right now.
I mean, it's still okay. It's just its big damage phase doesn't line up with party buffs.
Ooh.
So you do less damage during your big damage phase than everyone else's big damage phase.
Huh. All right.
Which is bad.
Yeah. I guess for the sake of my own, like, figuring out time commitments, because, like, as when it comes to MMOs, it's always difficult to try and like find the actual time to sit down, get actual sessions going, especially when there are just other games to get across as well.
Yeah.
As someone that still is very much in the early game, like I'm still midway through A Realm Reborn, probably a third of the way through A Realm Reborn. Would it be worth my time to really just wait out this initial, like, what I assume is legions of folks getting in for Endwalker?
Well, you're gonna look at the server balance is going to be back down to normal in about a week or so once people have finished it. Yeah, it's gonna be back down to normal levels. At least more stable, with the hours long waits aren't gonna last super long. But I definitely think it's still worth getting into and carving some time out. But the main thing I tell people with this game is play it like it's an actual Final Fantasy game instead of an MMO. because
Gotcha.
you don't have to rush. Like, honestly, that's what I'm liking about the fact that I have friends who have finished the story already after 2 days, and I am like, I just finished the first dungeon.
Hmm.
And that's like, it's take your time, enjoy
Right.
it, breathe it in, feel free to do side quests if you want. Most of them aren't, you
You
know,
might
are
honestly, you might as well if you're taking that much time to get into these servers.
but like, play it like it's a single player game. You do a dungeon every once in a while with friends, but just have fun with it, like be able to take it in and like cuz it honestly is a better game if you are in there for story, if you experience it all and let it breathe.
Nice,
All right. Yeah, good to
So,
keep in mind.
yeah.
I'll have to
awesome.
go find a new free company too, because the last one kicked me out.
Oh, what
Well, it was
server were you
also
on?
God, was I on Primal? I don't know. It was also a horny free company.
Oh yeah,
So
I
And
mean
that's
it's
a
Final Fantasy
requirement for you,
14.
right? Like that's something
Yeah.
you that's a that's a necessity.
unfortunately, I was too AFK, so they were like, "You're not passing our horniness check."
Oh, that
So,
sucks. That sucks.
Oh god.
I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of Final Fantasy 14 talk on this website very soon. I'm sure Skull and Rose are already planning their 18-hour long podcast. They're gonna talk about the story. Um,
Doing like a marathon.
but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
let's go ahead and move on. Elvie, you got a couple games on
Yes,
your list. What do you want to
I
talk
do.
about?
Because you can't stop talking about. I finally tried Inscription.
Yes, yes.
Another convertee to the cult of Inscription. Well, I don't know if it's a cult. It's definitely still very, very niche, I would say. But
I've seen
what?
like a lot of people playing it,
Yeah,
and
I've seen a lot
like
of people get into it though. Yeah.
it's definitely been a slower roll over
Mm-hmm.
time, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely wasn't like it didn't definitely didn't like land a hit. It took a while for more people to get into it.
Right. Yeah. And wow. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. What an interesting little game here, and probably not even. It's probably an understatement to say little because it's definitely a bigger game under the surface.
It's about like a
I.
12-hour game, and
Oh
there's
yeah. Yeah.
there's a good amount of like secret stuff too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know what this is essentially what looks like to be a card game on the surface, but
Oh
it's a
yeah,
little spooky, a little
a
unsettling,
little
very
freaky.
unsettling actually. And you're playing in a first person kind of view. But there's more to it on the surface. There's like little like I guess a little puzzles in between some sequences in between that kind of establish the connection between these card battles you're having with this strange old man who's hiding in the shadows. You only see his eyes. And he's kind of like half role playing with you, half like no, actually seriously wants to murder you and kill you in his basement, sort of vibe.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's definitely a like there's definitely a like a GM and player vibe going on
Yeah,
that I think
yeah, I definitely feel that way, especially when he just fucks you over, and it's fucked up, and it's like, "What?"
mhm,
And I think it captures that insane, like, just god GMing, absurdity well. Like, there's definitely a sense of, like, the people who created this game, like, not only understand, I think, in an essence of just, like, the kind of the humor they're conveying, but a very specific kind of humor, I think, seems to, be very specific to one who has experienced playing tabletop games or role-playing games in general, and
mhm,
just kinda understanding, like, the dynamics, yeah, between, like you said, like, the GM player relationship here.
mhm.
For sure, I think I reached a point where I'm stuck in a loop of, like, just dying and then coming back to, like, playing the game
Interesting.
all. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm stuck right now, or I'm not sure if I have to keep going, or if there's something I'm missing at the moment. But
How
definitely, yeah,
much how much around the cabin have you explored?
I reached up to the point of literally just, not that far to be quite honest, like, literally figuring out what to do with the clock, but other than that,
That's a good
yeah, I
place to
think I
be.
yes, yes. I think I'm kinda like, but yeah, I'm stuck in a loop right now, I think, so I don't know, I'll figure it out. But yeah, for sure, tons of little neat little secrets here to unpack, and for sure something that needs, repetitive, repeated play because it's definitely not They definitely packed a lot of little details and little jokes and little things in between that one would not think you would. Especially
Right.
also, like, if one tries the demo, like, what a big demo that for some reason they
Yeah.
packed a lot into it, yeah, as well. Um,
I'm
yeah,
trying to find
it's
more trailers for just
oh, yeah,
background footage, and it's
yeah, it's
like,
definitely an atmospheric game that's also, again, something that is hard to describe, and, yeah, I appreciate how, like, it's just it's kind yeah, it's a little weird and creepy from, based on ambiance. There isn't really inherently, like, anything graphic, but there's some teat stuff. There's teat stuff for sure. If you don't like teat stuff, don't play this. Teat stuff
mhm.
is, like, a big part of this. Um yeah, what a surprise find, I would say. This is definitely not something I thought about, like, or not something I definitely haven't heard of, but before around this time. Yeah, definitely something I have to dive back into and see what's see what I'm missing or see what else is gonna happen.
I'm
Um
excited for you to get further in.
Yeah, I've definitely heard, like, different interpretations about this game as well. I'm trying to avoid too much of spoilers, but yeah,
There's a lot of
absolutely
people who are
do.
really disappointed with the ending, which
Are
I
there multiple
100
endings?
there's one ending.
Okay, there's just essentially one key ending, but, like, different that's interesting. So it's, like, one ending, but there's different ways to experience it. Right, okay.
Sort of. It's more like
Always to get to
it
it.
it's more like one of the boss battles in that ending is like a little polarizing,
Okay.
and I 100% don't get it. Like, I fucking love that game top to bottom. Like, um there's also I'm really trying not to spoil anything, but it's like
Mhm.
the game is essentially in like multiple acts, and
Yeah,
like you're still kind of in the first act, and like
right.
most of the
Yeah, oh,
people who
yeah,
play
I
this
definitely feel
game,
like there's yeah.
what I've got, the sense of what I've gotten is like most of the people who play this game like way enjoy the first act way more than like the other acts that come after
Mhm,
it, which like
mhm,
I get it, because like the first act is really interesting and it has like a whole bunch of really cool mechanics, like
mhm,
pretty much made for destroying the game.
mhm.
But I I really want to I want you to beat it. I really want to talk about this game with someone. You have no idea how like long my quest is gone to just fucking talk about this game. Like I was on stream with Solon not that long ago when we were doing the Resident Evil Resident Evil, and like someone like popped into our chat going, "Oh yeah, Inscription, I beat that. I'll definitely talk to you about it." And like I messaged them, and the first thing that they started talking to me about was like the ARG secrets, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold up." I just want to talk about how cool this game is. We don't gotta
Well,
go there yet. But
I'm throwing an
now
essay at you, yeah.
yeah, but now I am at the ARG secrets,
Yes,
so
yes.
like, I don't know. That game fucking rocks. Like, the cool thing about that game is like is how like well constructed of a card game it is, and
Mhm,
how interestingly it like recontextualizes that card game while still being the same game essentially. And
right.
I think it's so cool. I need more people to play it right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a box of surprises for sure. It's not I mean, as is, like, once you get into it, it's like, there's more to this than it seems. And there is. There actually is. There's something about it too that's kinda escape the room-ish,
Oh yeah.
very, like, immersive theater-like. It definitely feels I feel like I would go to some sort of similar event in person where it's like, "Oh, here's an actor being a fucking weirdo, you gotta play card games with him, and now you gotta go around this room unlocking stuff." There's something about that that feels very similar to to something of that sort, again, which again goes back to my, yeah, theory that, again, I have not really gotten into the BTFs of this game at all, again, to avoid, spoilers as well, and to not, ruin that immersion as I'm still playing through it for the first time. But yeah, there definitely there's something about this game that feels like this is someone who's into role playing games and has has that knowledge and experience to kind of put that put that passion into this, which kind of makes fun of it and shows a love for that genre as well.
Right. Awesome. Mev, I want to hear all about Shin Megami Tensei 5 Simtiv. What is going on in the world of
Primitive.
devil summoning?
Bro, there's fucking demons outside.
What?
Like, there's demons outside.
Mothman
Fuck,
is my
bro.
best friend, and I will not hear otherwise.
Oh my god. See, here, the fun thing about SMT is that you have all these fun little casts of characters and creatures and whatnot. But oh my god, has the demon fusions in SMT5. It is just so easy to like disregard some MFs. Not because they're not worth it, but just because like I wouldn't say I'm super far into the game still. I think I feel like I have just hit a beginning of Act 2 kind of scenario, if that makes sense. I don't play enough SMT games to understand fully what the act structure looks like in its entirety, but it's definitely to a point where things have started to escalate. There's definitely been some immediate action that leaves people thinking, ah, shit, what's going to happen next? Oh boy. But outside of that, the thing that I've mainly been focusing on is just leveling up because despite the necessities for making sure that you have everything that you need for a party or like just going through the main story, as I mentioned the last time that I was starting out with this in T5, it's a game that's all about your lack of resources. And so, what better way to break that balance than to go ahead and buy the DLC that lets you farm for glory, for money, and for XP bonuses? Because holy shit, that just changes the game. No, even just like because part of the experience this time with the Nabohino is that you can buy or you could use what's called glory. This resource that basically levels up your character. And that has a variety of different things where it's like, oh, this is how you increase the slots for moves, not just for yourself, but for your demons. This is where you're going to get your price reductions for your compendium purchases, anything you need to get from the shop. This is how you're going to go ahead and actually boost your own affinities. The way that you get that, though, is literally through trying to collect resources in the map, and let me tell you, it is not easy trying to figure out in my little handheld Switch where is and isn't a platform that I can hop on and
Hmm.
actually try and maneuver through. Even though I can try and pull up the map and very visibly see, well, there is a little orb that I can get here, but it's like encumbered by cliffs and overpasses that I literally cannot jump on because the geometry does not fit for that.
Yeah.
So
There.
instead, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. I've been noticing a lot of really frustrating things with that, which is probably my biggest issue with the game.
Oh yeah, because it's easy to say that like, oh, it is very much there for you to gather, but at the same time, like, there's only so much patience with running around the overworld. So, really easy way to mitigate that is, it started out with me just getting like, oh, let me go ahead and just get the let me just get the one that like increases my chance for the Nagamitamas, the Mitama enemies that are just like a random status ailment that you can just like use your scanner move or scanner item to just be like, all right, do I have and basically yeah, just saying like, do I have the right weakness or the weakness item? Let me just pop that shit for immediate one hit kill, and then go ahead and collect my reward. And that has helped so much with just actually making the game not like a cakewalk, because that's the reality of SMT. You're still always going to have you always got to be on top of just the maneuverability of everything. Okay, you can absorb a few hits, but you can always end up getting a crit. You can always end up getting just something else that'll fuck you over.
You
But it at
run
least
into the Mudo.
you run into a chance Mudo that actually does take you out, or a chance Hama that takes you out. Oh, whoops! This lower level enemy knows Megidola, and now you're fucked. Like
Yep.
it'll still find its ways to kick your ass, but this has at least helped to level that playing field somewhat, and definitely so. now that it's like, oh, now that I have more glory, I can actually like increase my demon stock. So now I can actually start to farm demons just to see like what combinations I want to get or what other things that I want to do. And so it's just been fun just going like demon summoning is actually very solid now because of the fact that you can do reverse fusions. Basically, looking at what you have in your stock or in your compendium, this one being such a good addition that you can just look at every single demon that you've collected so far, and it'll show you, like, okay, here's what you can make, here are the various combinations that can yield that result. And so, who do you want to use? Do you want to use anything in your party? Do you want to just completely pick from the compendium and put more money there? Did you double check with the demons that you have registered that you have the moves that you'd want for this demon? It just helps so much with customizing, I would say, just a very specific party subset. And again, not to say anything about the demon essences that you can use for your own character, which I have so many of at this point, but I just refuse to really like maneuver at right now, if only because like my Nabuhino is like, okay, I've got a very easy pocket of like fire, ice, force, and then a quick pop for like healing, attack debuff, and defense debuff. Just very immediate things to like try and cover ground while I try and think like, okay, what demons do I want to shuffle around? I'm still trying to figure out. I've still got 2 slots for more skills that I can get, not just for myself, but for my other demons. I can definitely start and try to get those higher level things, but it's also like these higher level fusions have so many other things associated to them that if you want to start breaking, not breaking, but it's like, okay, I know that if I hold out long enough and I have this one demon that has the resist weakness that I would want for this very baller special fusion or whatever the fuck, I still have to wait because I know that I need more space for the cool moves that I want to add. It is a very interesting problem to have, I will say. And so, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next now that I'm like getting set up for what I would assume to be very interesting things that are going to come forward.
What I'm hearing is this game has become pay to win.
A little bit.
Not
what?
necessarily, but it's pay to make less frustrating.
Yes, that is what I would say.
That's not the SMT I know.
Yeah, the big open world zones are like part of why I keep thinking about buying that DLC because they're just too big and like hard to see things. It's
Definitely make like the difficulty itself easier, but it's at least another resource that you get.
Yeah.
And like I said before, SMT is all about systematically limiting your resources. And so literally just like getting the slider that's like, "Oh, you have enough pocket money that you can just always recover at a safe spot without having to worry about like, oh god, I don't have enough money to go back to the compendium, or I don't have enough money to do this shit." Like it balances itself out in that way. But like I said, there will always be a way that you can just get fucked over and get an immediate game over. This at least helps cushion that a little bit.
I'm glad it's still maintaining its core at least.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Christine, I believe we talked a good amount about Tales of Arise. Mav, you've talked about Tales of Arise before, right?
No, I've talked about Tales of Berseria.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
No. This is a very good point because this has been a game that I've been very interested in and would have loved to pick up eventually. We'll still try to before our fun game of the year talks. If so, here's hoping that doesn't kill me. But no, Christine, I am very interested in what you are calling a very heterosexual game after what I've like, as a Berseria fan can definitively say with multiple members of the Choo cast agreeing is a very, very good queer game in the Tale series.
Yeah, so it seems like this one, whoever was in charge of writing it looked at it and went, "Wow, we have way too many people doing fan art of people being gay in our games, and we absolutely can't leave any room up for interpretation at all that these characters aren't straight. They are straight. We have 6 characters, 3 dudes of different ages, 3 women, and they are 3 pairs. You've got your young teens who are totally going to end up dating with the mage and the punchy guy. You've got your 2 main characters, Shion and yeah, and they are definitely going to end up dating, and they do. uh and then you've got your older couple that is the mom and weird uncle kinda. But it is 100% like the straightest, like we are not going to leave any room for interpretation except for the fact that I get out of there and it's like no, Dohalim's definitely just gonna be fucking everyone, dudes, women, yes, he'll end up in a couple with Kisara, they will totally be dating, but he's also going to be fucking his music buddies and whatnot. Yep. Nope, it's but seriously though, it's a phenomenal game. Uh the story of it is not the best of the Tales games, and I have my issues. I don't like that there aren't like post-battle celebrations. It
Oh,
just
that's annoying.
immediately cuts back to the map, and then the characters say something like, "Wow, your magic was really great, Dohalim," but it's not.
That's
Oh,
kind of like the
ew.
nature of it, like being a little bit more open world, though, right?
It's not any more open world than the last like 10 Tales games.
Interesting, because like the
Like,
the I the vibe I got was that this one was like the big, or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but
no,
this was like the
no,
big
this
shift to
one's
3D.
yes, this one's the hey, we have Unreal Engine, but it's not an
Right.
open world. It's no different than any of the other games, except for the gameplay of every single character is fun as hell.
Hmm.
Like, this is the first time in a Tales game where I have been like, I don't know which character I want to control as my main one. The frickin' mage, the healers, like Shion with her gun, fucking rules. Like it's such a fun system of oh, I'm gonna throw out this grenade and shoot it with this kind of bullet so it has this effect along with and those are just my regular attacks and not even bringing in my special moves yet. Uh it is the first time that I've played a Tales game where I've had this problem of just like bouncing from character to character because it's all incredibly fun. Uh like I 100%ed the game start to finish, every single side quest. Uh didn't take super long compared to other ones. To the point where I actually got to the end and I was asking friends of mine who had finished if I was to the mid game twist yet. Because Tales games always kind of have like they have a story that has an ending and then has a second story after, kinda. Uh, and this one's just one story from start to finish. That its mid game twist isn't really even much of a twist. It's absolutely just a phenomenal game though with uh, like gameplay wise. Like I haven't played a Tales game this fun.
Nice. Sorry for the dead air a little bit there. Just saw Mav got disconnected and just making sure everything's working. You with me, Mav?
I am sorry, I was too outside, but now I'm back inside.
You needed to hydrate. It looks pretty hot out there.
Yeah, but don't
Yeah.
worry, we got the car wash going.
Yeah, the hydrants are just flooding the streets. It
All
looks
thanks to Byron. Uh, no, It's very interesting to hear because I know that in regard to Tales of Arise, from what I can tell, it builds off of the battle system present in Berseria, which, um, very much like smash buttons to get a combo going. But I will definitely agree that when it came to Berseria, I just stuck to Velvet because that was just the easiest character to work with, especially when it came to trying to use that rudimentary system with magic users and other just like variabilities where it felt like trying to fit the gameplay mechanics of your main character into other components, but it just didn't really mesh. I am glad to hear though that Arise fixes that to an extent where
Yeah.
it's so rare for me to be outside of the primary Tales protagonist, so I'm excited to actually think like, oh, let me consider these other people in my party if I want to actually like do shit.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about it. Like everyone has a counter for everything. Like, say someone has a charge attack, you bring in the character with the shield. And also the way characters get stronger is, one of the characters is every time you dodge, they get a significant damage buff. Another one is every single time the character with the big shield, every time you block, they get a significant damage boost and things like that off of their abilities. And then the main character can do an absolute boatload of damage. But whenever he uses his special abilities, he takes damage because he's taking out a big fucking flaming sword and his hands are catching on fire. And it's just like, it's a really good gimmick to where every character, you know, actually matters with the way
Yeah,
you're playing to combo things to the point where, yeah, you start out, you're doing a 20 hit combo, and by the end of the game, you have so many points to play with. You're doing like a 400 hit, just, hey, my characters are absolutely unhinged with how much damage I can do in a combo, but it's still like has significant challenge,
all
which is
right.
what's really nice.
Yeah, I'm also just like, God, some of the things that you bring up with Tales, it definitely makes me, I don't know. When it came to like, saying like, oh yeah, this is the one that has Unreal with it. On one hand, like, yeah, it looks spectacular. On the other hand, there is a specific like, recognizing, oh, because of that graphics, that
Mhm.
engine upgrade, we have to take away some stuff, which includes the victory screens that are
The
so often like a component for Tales games. That takes away, from what I remember last I was talking to Rose about this, the skits I believe are done differently.
the 3D skits.
Ooh,
Like they're still done in that comic book panel style, but
yeah,
they're really stiff. Like a lot of things are really stiff in there. Like there are even cutscenes in the game which most of the cutscenes look absolutely incredible, but sometimes it'll just be like zoom in on a character and they're not moving at all, but their mouth kind of does the flap thing like it's a skit, but it's not. It's in an actual cutscene, and it's just like, oh, this is bad. Uh,
right. And like bringing that up as well, more often than not, these skits in prior Tales games, if for folks unaware, are just like the use of promotional art or just like hand drawn 2D styles. But at the same time, it's here we have multiple poses and framing for this written dialogue, whereas as with most things in the Unreal setup, it's like we're still going to use our assets in a way that'll still just like try and replicate that. I know that it worked well for Scarlet Nexus from what I had played, but it definitely feels like trying to take what's fitting for one style and trying to implement it into something else. And
yeah,
I don't know, I'm definitely of two minds when it comes to the use of newer engine for just like any kind of JRPG setup, because there's something so specific to JRPGs in particular using their own systems and styles, and it's what makes it so fun of a genre, in my opinion. But at the same time, even just like it made me think like, ah, shit, does the new Trails game that came out this past year do something similar? And unfortunately, yeah, you have this graphical upgrade, but at the same time, it kind of takes away from what I think a lot of people do consider a pivotal aspect of the experience. You
Yeah.
know, but again, I'm the guy that's also very staunchly Pokemon Peak to black and white. Making the shift to 3D is a coward move.
Yeah.
But
Well, and that's like the biggest frustration for me is the skits. Like, I mean, not the skits, but the post game battle stuff not being there is like, that was like
oh,
one of my favorite parts of those earlier games where like characters would just get better at like high fiving each other as the game went on and whatnot. And in this game, it's like no, they don't even really change the kind of dialogue you get, where it's just like, wow, that was a great move there, instead of like, hey, we're saying some funny goofs and high fiving each other really cool with a secret high five that has developed through the entire game as the story went on. And in this, yeah, it's just a single line that you will sometimes get. And it's really frustrating because it's such a good game that I would recommend it to anyone, but it's also such a like, if you are a Tales fanatic, you might not like it because of the things it takes away to move to that new engine.
Right.
right. So still a solid game, but then
Oh,
what it
phenomenal. I haven't 100%ed a Tales game in a long time, and this one I wanted to fight every single super boss, and
yeah.
uh like battle system wise it is incredible. And like, of the action games like this, like, at first I was really afraid that it was going to be another Star Ocean 4, which is an incredible game to play, but has the most ass story ever written in video games.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not that. Like, its overall story, pretty good. Like, worth the time. Has some good themes. A little too straight for my taste, but it doesn't like horrifically take you out of it. Like, a lot of the setup of that stuff is mostly cute instead of like cringe inducing the whole time, but it's still frustrating.
Right.
All right. Anything else you want to add about Tales of Arise before we move on?
No, it's a damn good game.
I have also been playing a game that, in some respects, is pretty damn good. I've been all up in the Halo Infinite. I have been headshotting people with the battle rifle a lot, doing a lot of good sniping. There's Halo Infinite's a really really weird package because it's 3 for 3 really trying to find what works about Halo in a gameplay sense, and then trying to bring it back while still adding a whole bunch of their own new ideas. And I think for the most part it works, and it really feels like Halo in a way that is really good. And I think it makes a lot of like really sensible changes as well, because I think like one of the main problems that's been plaguing Halo for a really long time has been just like the assault rifle being kind of underwhelming. Like it's always just kind of been this, like, your starter weapon, your automatic fire weapon, and then as soon as you get a chance you swap it out. And they have made it like, one, it is now the start, that and the pistol are the starting weapons of like the two main like non-ranked player modes, and that becomes like the official default kit that everyone starts with. And the game has now suddenly become how good can you get with both these two weapons, which is really, really interesting because it feels like they've made like the meta of the game way more assault rifle focused. It's really neat. It's like the assault rifle is not an accuracy weapon. Like obviously you want to hit the people with the gun, but Halo has always been a game that has uh uh it's not a game where every single gun can headshot someone, you know? Like certain guns are the guns you use in order to headshot people. And the assault rifle has never been that weapon. And they added a new rifle that is an automatic rifle that can headshot people, but it has less ammo and it's like a little less accurate than the assault rifle, which is interesting. I've been having fun messing around with all of those different types of weapons. The assault rifle specifically has just become like almost, I don't want to say to the detriment of the game, but it's definitely become sort of the meta in a really interesting way. Because there was a moment where the battle rifle, I believe, here's what I can't tell is if they made the battle rifle worse, or I just wasn't very good with it for a little while. But there was a while where in heads-up engagements, if I had a battle rifle and they had an assault rifle, I was losing 100% of the time. And it felt like the battle rifle just comparatively was underpowered, which is like not ideal. You kind of want them to be on the same even playing field. The battle rifle obviously being a weapon that favors more accuracy. Like you want to be aiming for their head when you're using that. But the assault rifle, like as long as you're aiming at a part of their body, you're good. Like just get their shields down, do some damage, you're fine. It also, like, because the assault rifle and the pistol are the starting kit, there's this really interesting interplay between the two of them as weapons, because the pistol is really small, it's very quick, and it can do headshot damage. So, generally, the strategy I've been seeing, and the strategy I've been using, is, like, use the assault rifle to take out someone's shields, and then immediately whip out the pistol and try and headshot them. It makes you feel like a cowboy in a really cool way.
What is Halo if not just being a cowboy?
Exactly. That's
Sir, I'm rooting and tooting.
That's exactly what Master Chief says. It's really interesting. Like the new weapons are definitely a little underwhelming. I think there are some I really like, some I don't. I really like the Stalker rifle, which is the like Covenant carbine replacement. It's sort of a sniper rifle / like DMR like combined, because it has the range of a sniper rifle, but like it's way more meant for like it's not a one shot kill. It's like you gotta triple tap it a bit, and then if you get it like 3 times to someone's head, they're done, and you can do it really quickly, and it feels great when you do it. The other new weapon, and like the reason they have like completely changed the Covenant weapons in the first place is because it's not exactly the same faction of Covenant. It's like this new offshoot faction that is like their leader is this weird brute guy who is apparently a boss from Halo Wars 2 or something. Who knows? I don't know, but it's this interesting combination of like brute tech and like Covenant tech, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. Like there's a weapon called the Ravager, which has like a 3-shot burst, and you can charge it up and it shoots like a big grenade. And every single time I have used it against someone, it has just sucked ass. Like it's such a bad weapon. It's really bad for heads-up engagements. Like the 3-shot burst, like grenade shots, just don't deal enough damage. The only thing worthwhile on it is the fact that the big grenade leaves like a bunch of fire on the ground, and like if enemies step in that fire, it deals damage to them. And that's useful. And also it's got a blade on it, so if you run up to someone, it deals extra melee damage. But like, it's really hard to make that weapon work at all, like in any kind of situation. It's like, it's that and like other weapons that just seem confusing. Like, the plasma pistol is still here. And the plasma pistol, like, it's fine, but it's never been good for PvP. Like, its use has always been like, I'm playing legendary mode of single player, and the enemies have really huge shields, so I need to shoot the plasma pistol to bring their shields down, and then I can headshot them. That's exactly what it's for, and then it's just like, it's just useless in this multiplayer mode. Like, the game is only multiplayer right now. It's been out a few weeks. People have already played it. Everyone's kind of formed their own opinions about it. Like, there's a lot of really interesting interplay between the weapons, and I'm having largely a good time. Some stuff feels like they've tuned it down way too much. Like, there's a new shotgun, which is just categorically worse than the old shotgun. Like the old shotgun, if you were close enough to someone, one hit kill. This new one is, at the very most, if you're right next to someone, you can two-shot them. I've been having a lot of success, like, three-shotting people, and that has generally been faster than them trying to take me down with an assault rifle, so it's it's worked, but it just does not feel as strong as a shotgun should. And I guess it's not really categorized as a specific power weapon like all of the like strongest weapons in the game are now. But it's just like, bro, I missed the shotgun. Like, you got you guys, you Marines, you had a shotgun that was good and worked. Why'd you get rid of it for this one? What are you guys doing? Aren't you trying to beat the Covenant? Why do you have worse weapons? It's really weird. There is one new weapon I really like called the Skewer, which is, it's a really, like, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. It's a giant harpoon gun, and it's functionally supposed to be like a sniper rifle equivalent, except a sniper rifle is really good at headshotting people. If you hit anyone with if you shoot the Skewer at anyone at any part of their body, they're done. It's just a big harpoon just impaling them, they're dead. And like, the other cool thing about it is that it's actually really effective against vehicles as well. So it's this interesting combination of like a sniper rifle rocket launcher. But the downside of it is super accurate. Like, you need to be pointing the cursor 100% on the dude you're trying to aim at. If you're anywhere off, like, you're missing completely. And then on top of that, it has bullet time to it, and it has drop. So if there's an enemy that's running, you need to be aiming where you think they're gonna go with it. So,
and ahead too. God, you're actually selling me on Halo.
It's fun. Here's the thing is, like, the Skewer, the first time you pick it up, you go, why would I ever use this weapon? And then you kill someone with it, and you're like, I'm never not using this weapon ever again. It feels amazing to kill someone with it. It's so cool. And it's got a big spike on it, so you can stab people, too. But it's like, I don't know why you would do that when you could just... if someone is close enough to you that, like, that you can stab them with the Skewer, you should just shoot him, because it's gonna be a one-hit kill. Like, it's such a fun weapon. I'm largely enjoying the multiplayer. What I'm not enjoying is the what's the best way of putting this? The monetization elements of this game. So this technically it is a free game. The campaign has not dropped yet. It's just the multiplayer. So as a result, they have released this like Fortnite 100% ripped from Fortnite style store where they have time-locked cosmetics.
Ooh.
And on top of that, there's a season pass. And the quest of, like... So this season pass has been a real point of contention for a lot of people, and myself included, because I think it's fucking terrible. But it's got the free tier, it's got the premium tier. The premium tier costs $10. There's nothing good on the free tier. There's like a couple cosmetics that are bad, and like most of it is just challenge swaps, which are important because the weekly challenges that you get in this game are terrible. Like, they're just god-awful garbage. Bungie or 343 has like been very responsive in like recognizing that people fucking hate this and they want it changed. And they've made some good changes already. Like, just to give you like clarification on how this has started. There used to be no way to get EXP other than doing challenges. And like you had a daily challenge. You had like daily and weekly challenges, and once you did the dailies, that was it for like getting EXP for the day. You could not earn more. You had to do weeklies. And then like once you finish the weeklies, like you're done. But there was just, you don't get EXP from matches at all. Comparatively, the Master Chief Collection has a similar like season pass system, because they have like somehow integrated that into that game, but you're also playing like 5 different kinds of Halo multiplayer. So like, and on top of that, like you already have all the cosmetics you need unlocked. So these are just extra bonus things for a game you've already paid for that is like 5 games already. But in this, there's just like, you start the game with like 1 core unlocked, and then you get another like core quickly. The cores being like the different sets of armor you have. And then each of them have like a bunch of color palettes, which are just all the basic colors, and that is it. That is everything you get for free out of the box on this game. It's annoying. Like, it's really hellish, because it means every single part and piece that you get has a price tag associated to it. Mora in the chat just said Hot Pockets gave me a bonus Halo EXP. That's another thing, is like they're also doing these like weird deals with companies to like get strange like exclusives. There's a Nerf gun that if you buy it, you unlock the skin of that gun in the game. And it's like stupid as hell. Like, it's a bad skin. Like,
but it's a Nerf gun. Does it shoot Nerf bullets?
No, it shoots real bullets at people.
Well, then why is that good? It would be good if it shot little, like, orange darts with a blue tip on the end and left them all over the ground.
You're right.
Foam and bouncing off, yeah.
Yeah, that would fucking rule, but no, it's just got to be a gun that looks like a Nerf gun, which...
But, yeah, like... So, there was a piece on Kotaku not that long ago that was just titled, like, the season pass isn't actually that bad. And their argument was that the actual season pass that exists lasts until, like, March. And it has 100 levels on it, and it's like, I'm already at, like, level 30 or something. I'm definitely gonna complete it by the time it comes there, if I haven't dropped Halo Infinite by then or something. But, like, the reason I don't think that argument holds any weight is because now pretty much every cosmetic in the game has a price tag associated with it. Like, not only do you have to wait for stuff to show up in the shop, but there's also the fact that if you're not playing at a certain time, you're just going to miss certain cosmetics entirely. Like, they just did an event called Fractures of Tenrai. And the thing you unlocked from it was a samurai suit of armor. And I think it's a pretty fucking cool piece of armor. But it comes with its own, like, season pass associated with it, where you can only unlock the first 7 levels of it, because they're tied to the the weekly challenges that you can get. So you only have a certain amount of experience you can gain during this event, and this pass itself has like levels way beyond that because you're supposed to log in the next time it comes up so you can keep playing that event next time to unlock the next set of levels. And then it's just like this super snail's pace crawl to unlocking like a shitty like Oni mask or something for your samurai outfit. It's just like it's brutal. Like, I don't know why they thought this was good or that people would want to do this at all. Like, it's so annoying. And here's the unfortunate truth is that they did get me. Like me and a lot of people I already knew like had already bought into the premium season pass. It's like $10, and like it's the way you unlock cosmetics. And like the cosmetics you unlock aren't even good. But like whatever. Like, it's something to work for. But when the samurai event rolled around, I did drop a couple bucks in because what they were selling in the shop was a set of samurai swords that you wear on your belt. And you want to know something? When I look down at my character, I see those samurai swords. They are currently in my field of view at all times, and I think that's. Oh boy! I don't think it was necessarily worth the $15 I spent on them, but like,
sometimes you just gotta spend money on garbage.
Yeah, they've already made a hypocrite of me. But yeah, like, so not only are these items like time locked, they're price locked. On top of that, the like challenge system is just terrible. Like, the way you initially gained experience was just through challenges. They've reworked it a little bit after, so it started with you not being able to gain any kind of experience at all for playing games. Then they patched it so every time you played a game, you got 50 experience. It's 2,000 experience to level up, so that's like, or no, 1,000 I think. So that's like 20 games in a row. It's just the only way to do it. And that's like, at all, like, you win, you lose, anything, any kind of game. Quick play, big team battle. You play for like 5 minutes, you play for 40 minutes in a match, like 50 experience. And then it's bad. And then they updated it again so that like your first match gets you 300, and then like the next few get you 200, and then like the last few get you 100. So it's like you essentially get enough to level up like once per day, and it's like, it's better. I do wish that there was like performance based like experience going on there, but like on top of that, like on top of like your normal XP you gain from matches, there are the challenges, and the challenges are fucking unbelievably terrible. Like, some of them are extremely normal, like kill X people with an assault rifle, or kill people in Slayer or whatever. And it's like, okay, whatever. That's like stuff I can do passively. And they had these awful challenges that were like, you need to go and kill a wraith just kill a wraith. The problem with that is you can only do that in big team battle. Vehicle spawns are almost completely random. Like, you can, like, there's no way like a wraith is going to spawn except like towards the end of a match, and it's only going to be on specific maps. And like, if your team is just dominating and the other team is losing, like, you're not going to see a wraith at all that match. So it's like, you're just sitting there playing these games over and over again, hoping that a wraith spawns so that an enemy can get inside of it so that you can maybe kill it. And then when you see it, someone else kills it. Like, Even if you've already, even like if you do what happened to me, like you board it, you like throw grenades into it, and like it does a whole bunch of damage. Someone else just comes up and shoots it once, and then they get the kill for it, and it's just like hours of your time wasted. Like I had another one too that was like kill enemies with a shade turret. This one utterly destroyed me. I had to kill 15 enemies with a shade turret. There is one map in the entire game where a shade turret spawns. 2 of them spawn on the map, 1 on each side. And the thing about shade turrets is that they are not really built to kill. They're more like, here's a big, powerful gun, big, powerful stationary gun, can't move it at all. That is just like, that's just meant to deter people. Like, if someone gets close enough to get killed by a shade turret, they're playing the game wrong.
Oh.
So, I had to kill 15 people. I think I managed to kill 7. There were also times where, like, the game just didn't register that I, like, on the challenge that I had actually gotten a kill. Like it was just broken and just didn't register at all. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do this? Like, why would you implement this into this game just to torture people? Oh, and then the best part about the shade turret is, once it gets blown up, it doesn't respawn. So you have 2, like, if you spawn into the one map that has them, you have maybe 2 chances of getting a kill on it. It is just utterly, reprehensibly terrible the way it's designed. And they've made some changes to it. I still think that there are some that's pretty bad. Like the challenges I have right now are like play X stronghold matches or play like 3 oddball matches or something. And that becomes entirely reliant on, okay, I have to queue into this thing. I hope I get a stronghold match or I hope I get an oddball match. And let me tell you, as soon as I got those challenges for those mission types, they stopped showing up. I've played way too many oddball games, and now this game just suddenly doesn't want to give me any of them. It's just like an utterly baffling system. I need 1 second to change the battery on my headphones, but like Halo Infinite, just like real problems. The monetization there, I am like. It is enough to put me off from playing it entirely, like, if I didn't already enjoy how Halo played. But, yeah, that's mostly what I have to say about Halo. Let's move on. LV, we haven't talked to you in a bit. What's going on with Critters for Sale?
Oh, Critters for Sale. They're not actually for sale, though. This is a very strange game, a very peculiar game, if not somehow stranger than Inscription. I've been playing nothing but fucked up games, as I've noted here. Uh, just finding a lot of strange indie games, and then like, sure, why not? I'll just throw myself in there. Critters for Sale is like this low bit, kind of like MS-DOS styled like text adventure game. Not quite. I mean, text adventure / visual novel. There's a blur there. And I guess my best way of describing it is that I think this is someone's like this is someone's portrayal of like fever dreams. I would say very strange sleep paralysis dreams. Like there's like 5 different stories in this game, none of which have anything to each other. And they're all very surreal. And what's incredible about this game in particular, besides its very strange, creepy visual style, in which everything's in black and white, again, highly pixelated, highly low, very low res, very intentional. Again, it's supposed to intentionally evoke this style of a very old styled game. Um, and specifically old adventure games. Um, is that it uses a lot of stock images. And it's very fascinating to see when things try to push the limit of what is considered fair use. So what's most interesting about this game is that it uses a lot of celebrity and very known public figure photos as characters in this game. Um So if you see the reviews of this game, you're gonna see people say like, "Wow, it's death grips the game," because it's using it is there's one of the stories in this game outright uses MC Ride's photo from Death Grips as a character, and he's not MC Ride though. He is just a character. And it uses a lot of pulp culture icons specifically of a time long ago, and, in a way that's very strange and a little, like, weird, but I think it avoids uncomfortable territory, by outright, yeah, just completely using them devoid of context, and I think in a way of you knowing who they are. Like, for instance, Michael Jackson is a character that is a the developer uses their photo as like, "Oh, here, a completely," but they are still called Michael Jackson, but completely devoid of who they are as, like, what our reality knows as, like, the king of pop, and unfortunately just riddled in controversy towards the latter half of his life and towards his death, just unfortunate, how that turned out. But, like, um, it's like seeing them, um, transposed in a weird alternate reality that just is completely far off from our own.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're playing footage of it now. It's very strange. It's certainly like God, I don't know why I went down this rabbit hole. I think I was talking with some people over like I don't know why I was going down this rabbit hole watching video essays on YouTube. A big mistake.
Yeah, never do that.
No, they never lead to
Disagree.
anything good. And this one in particular, which was talking about indie games and just unfortunately reawakening my memory of something that was called Bob's Game a long time ago, in which this man unfortunately had this kind of very public meltdown. Very unclear if it was real or not, but he was trying to get developers kit from Nintendo to because he was very adamant about getting his game published on Nintendo systems.
Interesting.
And yeah, he had this very public meltdown where he was saying like, "Oh, I'm going to go on protest," and he kept having these like weird public fits where he was just causing problems in a Nintendo store at some point with his friends. Like again, like trying to promote this game that no one like the wider public doesn't know of, but unfortunately the internet does. At some point, I think Giant Bomb outright covered the mess of this game as well because it was such a notorious thing in the games community at this point in time, especially in a time when like what most people know as indie games was things like, like Fez, Braid,
Right.
right? Like, like not a lot to work with in terms of like the variety that we have now. But this is less about me talking about Bob's Game, which was the point of the video and the focus of the video, but more about like how towards the end, the the narrator of this video was talking about like, yeah, today we now have like a diverse array of like indie games and similar situations where these creators cannot seem to handle like the fame, the notoriety, and a sort of like the fact that you're gonna develop an audience through this. So it goes from a very very polarizing example of the Yandere simulator game, for instance, which is just an utter mess of both the person and the project that is still to this day, who knows what's going on with that, towards a success story like Papers, Please. And just hone in on Papers, Please in particular, but one of the creators just talking about how to the point saying like you can kind of do anything in indie games. It's fascinating how you could just kind of do anything and see what happens. Now Papers, Please I think that to this day it was like a very striking example of a very successful indie game to the point where someone made fan made material around it and then they got a movie around it too. I've yet to see what it's like, but I believe it's just a short movie around it. But um going back to Critters for Sale, this is like a prime example of like how the independent game sphere is just very, very freeform, and I love that. I just love how like you can just make weird shit like this, and you would not catch like a triple A game just using images of celebrities out of context like this without getting in trouble. And I'm surprised too that this game at a certain point has not like gotten gone on the crossfire when it comes to that.
Right.
Especially with a person like Michael Jackson whose estate is absolutely insane.
Right.
Like just horrible in many ways. And I but I think like the weirdness of this game has certainly maybe put off people from checking it out to someone compared to someone like me who's like, what is this weird thing? I'm gonna try
Right.
it. And yeah, for sure, it's definitely a sphere to this day that I think like, well, Oh, okay, like, weird choice of words. Or I mean, I think it's a sphere that has grown exponentially where I am glad that stuff like this can be allowed and thrive. But for sure, a strange game. Definitely. Epileptic warning to this game, and there's definitely seizure warning to this game. There is like flashing images. It like contorts and distorts imagery in a lot of ways that I think also helps with its um like its push of like fair use, especially when it comes to it using like outright images of public figures. But again, also it is using imagery too of like stock images that I'm sure has been cleared as well. Um, yeah, very strange game, very strange game. There's a lot of surreal games that out there that I want to check out, but I have not fully like gone down the list of them as yet. But um, I am just down the rabbit hole of weird right now. And yeah, it's very interesting too that this game also has been translated in many languages as well. If one wants to check it out, for sure. But it's certainly spooky. And I guess spooky in a sense of like, yeah, you're not seeing anything graphic, but how again how it distorts imagery and how it like takes you into weird places and very unsettling ways. Like I said, like very much this game is conveying, I think, the energy of what a sleep paralysis feels like and what nightmares are. Like this is very much nightmares conveyed in like a game form. Like in the weird hours in the night. Um, and it gets kind of goofy. I think I was trying to say that like when you think of things like creepy pasta videos and like again horror YouTube, unfortunately circle back to that. Whenever people try to like distort images in that way, it kind of does. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make the eyes look weirder, or I'm gonna distort images so it's a little more ambiguous looking, right? It kind of does that. That's the extent of I think how scary this game can be. Again, there's no really jump scares, but it's just the idea of like the sort of stuff you're seeing taken out of its original like people, places taken out of its original context and being put into like a weird alternate reality. I think makes it unsettling. And it's called and again, no critters are actually for sale. None can be found, but it's called that
That's
because
wild.
each each different like vignette, again, unrelated to each other, are just themed around an animal being like, oh, for instance, like the second story, which has MC Ride as a friend of yours. You're a desert like the animal is goat. And you're like a pair of desert dwellers trying to just go through the desert. And yeah, MC Ride's your friend. With this goat.
As he
So
should be.
that's why it's called goat. There's no other reason beyond that fact that there are animals loosely themed around each story. But
Interesting.
yeah. Very interesting game. And yeah, I wouldn't have discovered it otherwise if it were not for like the fact that there were a lot of like these virtual game shows going on, needed to be compensate the fact there's still a pandemic going on. Very much real, very much there. Get your shots. Yeah, and like it just happened to have a demo there. I think too, like I just worth acknowledging the fact that like demos are a more common thing, like just being put out. Like I think that's great too. And of course you're gonna see it more
Yeah.
often. Yeah, like it's like, yeah, sure.
I
But it's
think
also
I think
very
like that's because like the tools for putting out a demo are becoming a lot easier. Where it's
yeah,
like generally the way that it has been done in the past is like when we're dropping a demo of a game, we're essentially putting out like here's most of the game as it is right now. We just needed
right,
to section off a slice, which becomes its
right.
own. It becomes its own like like really difficult chunk of work. But I think like the tools of just like partitioning off sections of content and shipping them on their own has just become a lot easier. So
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
hopefully we see more demos just in the future. It's
Oh,
interesting seeing a lot
absolutely.
of demos in like the indie space cuz like most of that is like okay, here's a work in progress. Here's how it's
Yeah,
gone
that's what it usually
so far.
is.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how different developers interpret what a demo is, which, like you
Mhm.
said, it could be just like a weird working like copy so distinct from what that final game is of just like here are the mechanics, like, and it's like very isolated. It's just a very isolated, like boxed version of the game that has nothing to do with the final game. Whereas other demos are actually literally just the beginning of the game, which is
Mhm.
also fascinating. Um, and yeah, just seeing more games being very transparent about like, let's have an early access phase. Like, why not? Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Like that's like, yeah, just the accessibility of like developers' tools and how to like communicate with their potential audience is it's great. It's great. Like, yeah.
Awesome. We're running a little long on games. I see LV and Christine, you both have stuff you still want to talk about. Christine, if you want to just like quickly give us a rundown of what's going on with Forza 5.
Well, I figured coming at Forza 5 and talking about it from the perspective of somebody who actually lived in the city it takes place in,
Oh, interesting.
Ooh,
is
wow.
kind of fun. Like, it's both a really good and utterly terrible representation of Guanajuato. It's like driving into the city. It's like, wait a minute, the centro is right at the entrance in the game, where it's like I'm driving in and there's the center of town,
Of course.
where it's a really good representation of the center of town. Like I really actually like it, where I was able to drive through and go, "Oh, hey, if things are right, I should be able to look right over there and there should be a building, a bluish building with a balcony." And I look over towards where it should be, and there's a bluish building with a balcony, and I'm sitting there like, I remember being up in that balcony, getting really drunk off of Irish cream coffee, because I didn't realize that when you order an Irish cream coffee in Mexico, they just use Bailey's. Uh, and I got really drunk playing dominoes with an old man up there on that balcony, and it's like really cool to just see that there. It's not the best representation of everything, but like when I go to the centro and I see the building with a balcony where I expect to see it, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of experiences of people who play games based in cities like that they lived in. I'm sure LV and Maverick, you both had this experience considering how many games take place in New York. But it's like
Yeah.
I knew people who like lived in San Francisco who played like Watch Dogs 2, and they're like, I'm walking by where my house used to be. That's fucked up. Like,
I mean, it's even like a different kind of scenario because you say like, "Oh, so many games take place in New York," but really, it's always Manhattan.
It's
right.
always
And
Yeah.
Times
Right, right,
Square,
right.
yeah.
it's Times Square, Spider-Man,
Mhm.
the new one,
The
Miles
new one, yeah.
Morales, actually putting in the little like shops from Union Square for the
Yeah.
holidays, funnily enough. But no, it's very interesting to see just like how representative games end up becoming. I mean, the immediate pop off was like last year. How many people were dive bombing buildings in Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But no, it's good to hear, that even if it's not like one to one, it's still faithful as much as they want it to be in their perception of like what Forza
Yeah.
it's also supposed to be.
And you've got all this, it's like you drive around, and I like when I drove around, it was like, oh, I'm gonna see what other things I can find, and there are things that are missing, like the giant statue of Jesus in the center of the country is right outside of Guanajuato. It's like a friggin' 45-minute drive. And the way the map is represented, it's definitely on there. It's just not on there because they're not going to put a digital version of a giant statue of Jesus on the top of a mountain
Mm-hmm.
in their video game because they know it's going to piss someone off. But it's still like just this really funny thing to go, hey, I know some of these neighborhoods. I know if I go through that underground tunnel, if I go to the left, there's a nightclub right there. And yeah, there's no signage on it in the game, but there's a building right where there should be. And it's like it's just such a cool little thing to see of, yeah, this is my old stomping grounds. I used to love this city.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that games can kind of like recreate that experience. Like, I haven't so far. I haven't had like nothing has tried to make Connecticut yet, which is very funny.
Yeah.
But like the closest it's come to like is like part of it's in like Fallout 3 or whatever. Like, oh, yeah, I love how blown up it is.
Woo!
Yeah, but hopefully someday someone will make Central Connecticut a video game. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like that would be in a Life is Strange.
I don't know. Scott,
But I
you've
mean,
played-
Yeah, it's some suburb.
Scott, you
Yeah.
played Bloodborne.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
No, that's
that's-
London. What are you talking about?
no, that's
I'm sorry,
Connecticut.
you played Inner Londo.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Oh God.
LV, I
Yeah.
want to hear about this. I might pronounce this wrong. Hermitage, Strange Case Files. Hermitage.
I think it's pronounced that way. It might be Hermitage. Unclear.
Hold
No
on,
one
I
has
can,
said the word
I
out
can,
loud.
I can solve this. Hold on.
Or Hermitage. It might be Hermitage. Well, all right. Hermitage, Strange Case Files. It is a paranormal horror adventure game. And it was actually made by a Chinese developer. It was that actually a couple years ago, but it was this year that it
French
has a complete.
pronunciation. Hold on, I've got pronunciation up right
You can
now.
unlock it. All
Yeah,
right.
let me see
I
how
guess
this
I don't even
sounds.
know actually. I don't recall it being uttered like out loud in the game at all. There's like no voice acting, at least thus far, my experiences of the game. But it was developed by a Chinese developer a couple years ago, and it was this year that a full English translation of it came out. And I don't know what to say about like a paranormal horror adventure game. Like I think like very specific titles come in mind for some people who like usually play text adventure games or visual novels in general of what that means. There definitely seems to be I don't think it's deliberate, but I think Spike Chunsoft has definitely has definitely kind of saturated the genre and well not saturated, but like taken and defined the genre in such a way where I think any other game that does anything similar, we're like, oh, here's a visual novel with horror elements, or here's a visual novel with spooky like it is hard not to compare it to their titles. It's hard not to compare it to the Ultra Despair Kids. It's hard not to compare it to the AI Insomnium Files. Like it's the aesthetics are very similar to you. You got the whole UI where like, oh, here's the fake comic panels that you kind of see also in Persona. Um, it has certain like I think that aesthetic has just set a precedent for like many games still to this day are just now not copying it deliberately, but just oh, no, this has been done before. No, oh man, this looks and not to say it's bad, it looks great. I think it's fun. I love that aesthetic. I love that style. But oh man, I don't know how like games in this genre are gonna look different here on out. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. I wanna see like a game that says it's paranormal horror or like mystery detective sim whatever that looks silly. I wanna see a silly one. I wanna see this departure from like comic book noirish art style, you know? I wanna see something different. Yeah, I wanna see something goofy. Um, but that said, this game is quite good. I love the art. I don't know if the developer has made anything else. Probably they probably have, but last I don't know if they have been localized yet for English speaking gamers. Oh man, I said English speaking gamers in the audience as well. English speaking gamers.
Gamers of English.
Gamers of English, the English language. And the premise revolves around this eccentric bookshop owner who was once a professor but now isn't. Wonder why. And I think the title is because the title is from the bookshop name itself, Hermitage. To pending pronunciation unclear.
I mean, if you want, I have a pronunciation
Oh,
video
what is
ready to
it?
go.
What is it?
Let's hold on. Let's go figure that out real quick right now.
I would like to be surprised. Maybe it's
Hermitage.
neither of what we're thinking of.
Hermitage. Hermitage.
It's just going Hermitage. Hermitage.
Oh, well, okay.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's the name of the bookshop he runs. I don't know if he actually has any actual real customers that buys his books, because thus far, it seems like whoever goes into his bookshop has some sort of problem. A spooky problem in particular, a fucked up problem. And
Oh,
and they're
no.
like and they're like talking about it, and he's like, I guess I gotta solve this. I'm like, what? Like, no, no one's recruiting you to do this, but okay. And he's like, well, okay, I guess it's up to me. He's just a self-appointed detective or whatever, or an investigator, sure, biting into people's business. Um, the first case revolves around the fact that this one girl, the student, she's plagued with these nightmares that for some reason seems to be predicted in advance. She goes to his bookshop one day and she's like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. I don't know what's going on. And she's really haunted by this image of one of her classmates dying, actually, like it
Hmm.
seems to be in a murder scene. And she ends up talking about it with him. And he's like, I'll get down to that, sure. Um, and similar to other, like, mystery games of this sort, the mechanics of this game revolve around, like, yeah, you're collecting bits of information that are basically itemized, and towards the end of each day or segment of time, or, rather chapter, I guess, like, or a segment, um, you have to, like, match up the bits of information to, like, the problem at hand. Say, for instance, like, oh, like, yeah, it's basically matching up theories to conclusions, essentially, like, in what is depicted as, like, a literal journal. And in addition, like, of course, you have, like, dialogue branches. None so far yet that I have seen make any dramatic turns. I have not fucked up yet, so I'm not sure how dramatic, take a turn with progress if you, like, mess up in certain dialogue branches. I've also messed up, like, what's the word? Yeah, like, I have messed up, like, a certain segment of the game so far. Nothing bad has happened yet, but I will see towards the end. So I'm not sure how linear the game is or how, like, faceted the game is when it comes to different endings, potentially, potential failing of the outcomes. But yeah, certain dialogue choices you will make as you're talking with characters and trying to get more information will have, like, indicators of tone, like straightforward, blunt, um, be an asshole. Well, not literally, it won't literally say that, but you know what I mean. Like, just different moods and, like, how, whether or not that is appropriate for the situation. Um, in addition, there will be certain points where you can analyze further and try to perceive body language of the people you're talking with, and you can choose whether or not to focus on a certain um, part of their body and see, like, what's making them tick, or, like, what is potentially something that will out a further piece of information to a case. What really kills me though about this game is how much of a boomer this main character is, in ways he doesn't have to be, and they keep so, whenever he has to, and it's kinda like a hint feature in a way, whenever you're, like, stuck in a moment, like, there's a literally a button that says "thoughts," like, "Oh, this is a moment where he's gonna monologue to himself," and, like, kinda cue in on, like, what should I do next? And the little animated sequence whenever you go into thoughts is he just starts smoking, and he keeps complaining like, "Man, I'm gonna die if I keep smoking." That just happens every time, like, "Man, you can't you" he just keeps complaining about it. I'm like, "Okay, this is gonna be it's definitely gonna get really repetitive." I don't know if there's
It's
gonna be
just there
anything else.
to remind you of the
Yeah.
ever-present threat of
Oh, yeah.
death from
Yeah, don't do
cigarettes.
drugs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um And, like, what's also funnier is that, at least in the first case, so I'm not gonna go deeper into the other cases, um, oh, yeah, and it's yeah, like most games of this nature, there's kinda like a hub world in between, like, "Oh, yeah, here's where you can kinda, like, reread everything you've learned so far, etcetera." And in this game, it's, like, his room at the end of the day, like, and he has his computer, and it says internet, you go to internet. It's this old ass, like, Web 2.0 forum. And he keeps saying like, "Yeah, this is where I go to get some information." It's a fucking old forum. And at certain point, like, quarter way into this first case, he learns about Tumblr. Like, this is a very real thing that happens in this game, a very specific thing that happens. He learns about Tumblr through, like, one of his, colleagues, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll figure out what this is." Supposedly, this is, like, the biggest, like, website or whatever in use right now.
Oh yeah, the biggest one. Yeah.
Yeah, or something to that effect. Which makes sense because, right, he's trying to investigate these students, and, like, he's trying to look into he discovers a blog by one of the students, so that kinda, like, is really it's relevant. But yeah, just how that was brought up is extremely funny to me. Which also goes back into how his character is kinda literally a hermit, which explains the title as well, and the name of the bookshop, where he's very reclusive and very, which I haven't reached far enough in the game to explain why he is the way he is. Um but yeah, so far the writing is very solid. I'm very immersed and into it. Which I guess shows to how strong the translation is. Like, I have not run into any weird typos or anything that sounded off so far. It feels very good. It feels very polished. And the core of the game is that there is some sort of paranormal underbelly to this, and it largely does rely on what appears to be Lovecraftian and Eldritch horror themes at a certain point. I have not gotten that far yet as to when it gets really off the deep end with that stuff. right now. It's just a little spooky, but I haven't gone so deep into the horror elements yet. If like what in terms of like explain what is actually going on. Um, and like a fun little throw to that is that there's also like a bookshelf section, of course, in the bookshop that you can check in idle time. And of course, some of that stuff is there to supplement potentially some of the whenever the stronger horror games are going to pop up at some point later on in the game. Nothing graphic yet has happened. I don't know if it ever will. I wonder too if it's one of those things where it's gonna be largely dependent on ambiance. But I love a little throw towards the Call of Cthulhu tabletop games in the bookshelf
Hmm.
where he's describing the book as if it's like a real textbook, which is really funny to me. I'm not He's like, if anyone reads this book, they're in for a bad time or something to like, you gotta be careful. You're gonna be like seduced by some sort of evil powers. And interestingly, also referencing the very obscure, well, not quite obscure, but lesser known, but lesser referenced in the Cthulhu tabletop heads world, Cats of Cthulhu, which is a standalone original tabletop system where you get to play cats in a Cthulhu game, except they're like the elder gods.
Okay.
I'm glad we've grown past cat humor. It's certainly I have never played that game. I don't know what it's like, but it's definitely something that only makes sense to certain people. But for sure, there's definitely like a lot of love put into like respecting that lore, or at least using that lore in a way that in a way that's a little something new to it, as opposed to just like diving deep into like where I see a lot of problem with Eldritch, specifically Lovecraft driven adaptations or stories where it just goes knee deep into like getting a little edgy too quickly, and if not completely being way too complicit and unfortunately the undeniable racism of HB Lovecraft without like nuance to it. um yeah, so I'm just very curious as to where this game will take those things actually, or if it's just gonna be very surface level. It's very interesting to hear how like horror of this sort is very popular in East Asia, in comparison to right now where fantasy is kind of having like a huge zeitgeist, I think, in our neck of the woods, especially when it comes to role playing games. So it's very fun to see like those interpretations and like not from a non-American perspective. And yeah, it's just a very solid game so far. It's definitely something I need to you know go knee deep in with hours in, because nonetheless it is a text adventure game, so there's gonna be a lot of reading. But yeah, very solid game. I do recommend it for anyone who does like text adventure yeah, text horror, yeah, text adventure games. Again, like a lot of strong comparisons made to like Spike Chunsoft games, like aesthetically. I don't know if it will actually feel that way towards the end, but I quite like it so far. If you like bad developers games, I think you would like this. It's
Nice.
definitely, I think like more attention should be definitely brought to it as something that doesn't seem to have like a lot of eyes on it right now too.
Awesome. Christine, we're running so long on games.
I'm just gonna take like 2 seconds for this last one.
Please
But
talk to me about Ruined King.
Ruined King, the League of Legends RPG from Airship
right.
Syndicate. Fuck League of Legends, but I will buy anything Airship Syndicate puts out right now, and I
Sure.
really want a new genre to just be battle chasers but blank. Like, just give them all the properties because the game really, really good. Like, the art's great, the animation is great, the way the combat flows is freaking incredible. Like, yeah, just let Airship Syndicate make lots of more battle chasers, please. Like,
Yeah.
it actually made me, I put like 10 hours into that, and then I went back and I put another 20 into battle chasers.
There you go.
You should buy battle chasers instead, but it's very, very good.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a weird whole thing around Riot right now, because like they have sort of successfully done what Activision couldn't, which is like really shake off a lot of the sexual harassment allegations, and have like doubled down on just putting out a bunch of stuff that people are actually enjoying.
Interested in?
Yeah, like I haven't watched Arcane, but like I know people who both do and don't like League of Legends, who are just like, yeah, this show's real good. And it's like
every animation professional, like Andrea, my partner, is somebody who does animation, and yeah, we kind of had to watch that because it's an incredible like example of really, really good animation. But
Yeah, but fuck Riot, obviously.
fuck Riot slightly less than Activision because they maybe are doing something. I don't know. Every time you look it up, it sounds like it.
To me, it sounds like they're avoiding people talking about it, which,
Yeah.
It's weird.
Fuck Riot.
Yeah,
but also fuck
I'm okay with that being.
Also say fuck Activision.
Oh, everyone's saying fuck Activision. Oh, we'll get it. Trust me, we'll get into it. I want to get into news, but first I want to take like a short 5-minute break because I've drunk like 2 Blue Moons by now, and I do want to take a little pee-pee. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to talk about the news, and then we'll take our questions. Which, Elvie, if you want to put out the questions post again, that would be great.
Yeah.
And also, because this is live. If you want to come question time, if you want to post questions in the chat, we will definitely answer them. So we're going to go ahead, take a short 5-minute break, and then we will be right back.
Go check out that new Spider-Verse trailer.
You'll have time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Video Game Choo podcast. Who's ready for some news?
Ah! The
Still
scariest part of
outside.
every episode.
It is the best part of every episode. I agree.
It really is.
All right, let's move on to news. Our first thing, the Activision Blizzard update. The thing we are dreading every single week, and it just never stops.
It is a main feature now, every news segment now, unfortunately. And it is. It's important, but it's also
It is.
wow, it's its own dedicated section. It
Yeah.
has to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the big thing coming out recently is that Jeff Keighley did an interview with the Washington Post, I believe, where he made a couple statements to kind of imply that he was not particularly taking a stance on whether or not they were going to they were not going to take a stand essentially against Activision Blizzard in their conference. The quote from Kotaku is that he wanted to focus on reveals, but it looks like he sort of walked it back a bit, or at least clarified to say that beyond nominations, Activision Blizzard is not going to be taking part in the Game Awards at all, so they're not going to have any major reveals.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that's kind of bullshit, because the nominations of the Game Awards are entirely I don't know, they're ads in and of themselves.
Right.
The Game Awards is not particularly the most I don't want to it's not the what's the best way to put it? I'm really trying to think of a way to say this that is charitable while also just trying to be as nice as possible.
Neutral? Is that the word you're or
no,
objective?
the winners of the Game Awards are the games that have the biggest budgets,
Oh no, yeah. There doesn't seem to be some sort of actual criteria
they have a judging team, and they have a
absolutely.
board that does the actual nominations and the voting, but for the most part it's filled with
there's bias.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
There's mainstream bias, which is certainly a problem across many awards, like the Oscars being a notorious example.
Mm-hmm.
Where having no diversity in the Academy who judges these things is absolutely, of course, going to hurt directors of color, and
Right.
it's going to hurt more indie, lesser known big budget films, because you're gonna have a bunch of old fucks on the
Mm-hmm.
on the Academy and not have a diversity across it. Yeah, it's a similar issue here, except it's worse because it's games. Because what do you expect of gamers?
And not to mention, there's an Activision. I gotta find the exact. Let me look for the exact person before I go ahead and say something definitive.
All right, it's while you're doing that, it's definitely as many people point out, it's very silly given that meanwhile while Konami was having their spat with Kojima, Keighley was very vocal about that at the previous Game Awards, not the last one, but
yeah,
one of them.
Let's get that entire segment to talk about how he can't be here.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say earlier is that Activision Blizzard is part of is one of the companies that's part of the
sponsor.
They're part of the advisory board for the Game Awards. And Activision president Rob Kostic is he's the actual member that's on the board,
right?
And which also includes executives from Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and other major corporate giants. It's hard to believe that they would take a real firm stance against Activision specifically while still keeping them within the nominations, And Jeff Keighley, Jeff Keighley said specifically that the Game Awards is a celebration for this industry. It's the biggest form of entertainment in the world. There is no place for abuse, harassment, or predatory practices in any company or any community, which, He's the guy who runs the awards, and he's like trying to make an actual statement about this, but like he's he can only be so specific about these things because
it's not saying anything then.
he still wants Activision's money. It's such a like it's such a weird like crapshoot to think about. But whatever, they're still gonna be there in some capacity. The only difference is we're not gonna see an Overwatch 2 trailer, which fucking when were we gonna see that anyways? Because that game is a mess. But Elvie, I believe you put this in. Could you talk to me about what's going on with the ABK?
Yes. So the ABK is, if one doesn't know, it's basically it's like a rhetorical labor group collective that kind of exists on social media. I don't like in legal and literal aspects, it technically doesn't exist outside of that, or at least I don't know yet in terms of like what the public knows. In which a collection of some of the Activision Blizzard employees have been very vocal about using describing themselves as such, like in what would be a rhetorical union shop, essentially. And whether or not that's going on, I do not know, and that's something I cannot speak on of whatever was publicly released ever. But unfortunately, one of like a huge like vocal person from that group, Jessica and Gonzalez, who was like I believe a senior test analysis. That's someone like who's been there for quite a while. Unfortunately, has made a declaration to resign from the company, and I'm also using it as an example, not that it's like, "Oh, man, this is devastating." Of course, there's so many workers at Blizzard hoping to still make change and hoping to, like, very
Yeah.
critical of the company, but mostly using it as an example of, like, that their company is definitely hemorrhaging, in such a way that it's difficult to replace that work, and which I
Yeah.
think also is explained too with the downturn of the quality of some of their products right now, which includes the whatever the hell is going on with Overwatch 2, which already was a shit show before this thing really blew up. Um, that said, unfortunately, she is choosing to, not work in games for the time being, as it's declared, but she very much is very vocal and supportive of like her former colleagues still at Blizzard Activision. And who knows to say that I think I was saying too, like, now that she's no longer working with them, who knows like what sort of things she might like reveal after that. But that said, yeah, like I recall like not that long ago just how like they have tons of listings across different career websites, Blizzard Activision, and like they have been like up for days. And it's like that would be not normally a weird thing because sometimes just companies forget like, oh yeah, we had that listing up, but they already closed the position, they already found people. But they have like I cannot like exaggerate how like how many listings they have been putting up for tons and tons of positions. Some positions being outright senior positions, and like that is a very, very bad sign. Um, on LinkedIn specifically, or like in general, like you would sometimes see like how a listing outright has been it says the word promoted, maybe that means a listing had to be paid for to stay up longer than usual. Like some of them have that tag suggesting they had to like pay more money to recycle the listings because no one is applying to them. So it's just a very bad situation in general going on at the company. And for sure, meanwhile, on the other hand, I'm seeing some mutuals and like mutuals not by 1 degree, but maybe like multiple degrees away from me because I'm like knowing other artists and other animators, etc., and other people in like in the industry because they're liking posts, I'm gonna see it. Like for sure, there are people like now like enthusiastically other hand like yeah taking those jobs or maybe like going in, but it is definitely really bad that you have a lot of people like Jessica who were in senior positions who have been there for a long time leaving now like in huge wave because now that's just like the quality of work and production now is like at like already at like a just detriment.
Right.
It's you're now gonna have like all these people who are like probably not like as experienced, and that's certainly gonna affect the quality of like whatever they're working on.
Plus, like, unionization efforts are always going to be more difficult when you have like people who are leading them leaving.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's move on. Sony is launching its competitor to the Game Pass, codenamed Spartacus. It's supposed to it's supposed to incorporate both PS Plus and PS Now. From what I understand,
Oh, okay.
they plan on dropping the PS Now service as as
Ooh,
branding and just
okay.
incorporating it into PS Plus. And the current plan is to create like a 3-tier system. The details are not finalized, but from what I understand, the pitch is that there are 3 tiers of it. The first tier being essentially like basic PlayStation Plus, like you play online, which, if if they take a cue from Nintendo and make that significantly cheaper, that would probably actually be a big boon to them.
Mm-hmm.
The second one would be essentially the tier that gives away free games, where it is supposed to include a catalog of both PlayStation 4 and PS5 games. And the third tier would add, quote, extended demos, game streaming, and a library of classic PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games.
Oh boy.
Which, if they're using PS Now, means that's gonna involve a lot of game streaming, and that service is not the best if you want to play those games. Yeah, it's not fun. But that seems to be what their plans are going forward with PS Plus. There's one more thing in here I wanted to include. No, I think I pretty much got all of it. It seems I don't know. It seems silly. Hopefully, this means online will be cheaper, at least at the initial price point, because I can live with I don't ever subscribe to PS Plus unless I absolutely 100% need to, and usually it's just trying to get a free trial before anything else, because it's I just the free games on that service don't do anything for me. I don't really play online games on the PS4. Soon to be PS5. If all goes well. But it's oh right, the one other thing I wanted to include is that it's likely to be on both the PS4 and the PS5. Mostly because the PS4 right now has insane install base, and the PS5 is far more elusive to find out in the wild, so you can probably expect it on both of those systems. This one is interesting. Yusuf Ferris and Hazelight are being hit with a... What exactly is this? It is a trademark claim from Take-Two over the new game It Takes Two. Yusuf Ferris, known for both Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons and A Way Out, which I love Brothers. And I recently watched a playthrough of A Way Out, without ever playing it before. I think that game is fucking genius in a really hilarious way. So as far as I'm concerned, he's 2 for 0. I can't whatever it's I know a bit about what It Takes Two is at this point, and it's it seems a little melancholic for what's supposed to be a puzzle platformer. But I suppose it's going to be going by a new name pretty soon. Take-Two has been kind of going really nuts over just really stamping down on trademark and copyright claims. The U.S. Patent Office shows records from Take-Two for filings involving the words rockstar, social club, mafia, civilization. So they're just...
I want
Yeah.
I want them to go further in Mafia and see where that gets them.
I
really want to see what happens there.
It's very important because everybody loves the Rockstar Social Club.
Oh, yeah.
We
Rockstar
all use the hell out of it,
Social Club.
right?
But yeah, what's sad is that Jose Ferris eventually recent news, he ended his company just ended up just stop filing the trademark for the game. They just not bothering.
It
So I don't
sounds
think-
like they're probably gonna try and find a new title for it.
Yeah, I
because-
don't know if that immediately means they'll find a new title, but they're not gonna register it in print now, and that's definitely an issue when you're making a
Maybe.
game that's you're selling to hopefully to a lot of people, and that's gonna be an issue for sure down the road. So who knows what's gonna happen to it. But yeah, that's really
Yeah.
shitty.
It is
Whenever they
shitty.
come to
The weird thing is, like, I think Joseph Fares and I think Hayes, like, actually have, like, a way stronger case for
absolutely.
their name than, like, Take-Two does on this trademark. But
right.
it sounds like they just don't have the resources to fight it.
Right.
So,
It's just they'll be forced to deal with an annoying like litigation. But yeah, it's just not worth it, probably.
all right, let's move on to our quick hits. Just quick news stories. One headline. Respawn is discontinuing sales and removing Titanfall 1 from subscription services.
Damn.
It is still going to be online for the time being, as far as I understand. They'll be keeping services for live and for dedicate. Let me reread this. We will, however, be keeping servers live for the dedicated fan base still playing, for those who own the game or are looking to drop into a match. So, if you already own Titanfall, if you already own Titanfall, like, that's good, I guess. It's a weird situation because Titanfall 1 is a multiplayer only game. It has, like, barely any, like, the single player component of that game is, or the campaign component at least, is you get dropped into multiplayer maps and you play multiplayer matches while people are talking to you. It's really strange. Like, Titanfall 2 had a really excellent single player campaign, so, like, the idea that they would stop selling that for any reason is ludicrous. But, like, Titanfall 1 makes a little bit more sense. I think it's a bummer whenever companies decide they just want to stop listing something because I believe in preserving media. But, like, in the case of Titanfall 1, like, they could conceivably just put everything that's in Titanfall 1 in Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what would be stopping them there. It's strange, but at least it's still out there for people to play. LV, do you want to talk about this? Anti-scalping legislation.
Not a lot to say on this, but they're in the US, politicians are revisiting the idea of anti-scalping legislation when it comes to products specifically. There has been if people are confused, there has been like anti-scalping legislation already technically written in stone in regards to like ticket sales and like event tickets. Um a couple of years ago, but alas, of course, the effectiveness of that is, of course, into question because with technology exponentially going at the rate it is, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, they're revisiting the idea of like going back down to that as we're coming into the holiday season. Though I don't know, I don't think it's gonna happen like this year, but yeah, especially in regards to video games and how you fucking cannot buy a PS5 like a normal person.
It's truly fucked up.
What kills me, so that's just something in the minds of the US government officials right now. Nothing tangible yet, but it has been certainly brought up. What kills me is the name of this act called the Stopping Grinch Bots Act. Um, okay, like, all right. That's highly specific. I don't think we need. I don't know. I don't know what this. The Grinch is very specific to Christmas. It's very odd. But yeah,
They're ruining Christmas.
they are.
Well,
They
they
are.
didn't ruin Christmas because Scott was finally able to get his PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't have it yet. Walmart might still fuck it up, so.
Yeah, something might happen.
A Grinch might show up.
But a Grinch bot might show up.
A Grinch bot, that's true. God, did you... I hate to derail this, but, like, did you see that video of, like, police officers, like, performatively arresting the Grinch?
No! Why would they do that to him? He's leave him alone.
He literally learns to be a knight, but then again, police.
Exactly.
There is no reform. You're a bad guy.
Exactly. It 100% highlights the problems with policing in America. That like he doesn't even get his chance to show his change of heart.
Yeah.
Come on, Grinch,
God.
take them out one by one. I got you.
I'm just fucking.
Oh man. Speaking of little fucked up Grinches, the Golem game, #Golem game is gonna be at the Game Awards.
He's real.
we're all so excited. Everyone has been waiting for Gollum to finally get his own game. Hashtag Gollum game, which it is 100% called. It is not called Lord of the Rings Gollum. But yeah, I'm so excited for hashtag Gollum game.
Oh my god.
Lord of the Rings Gollum game.
Lord of the Rings hashtag Gollum game.
As one word.
Our last little quick hit here. Swarovski x Halo. A collaboration going on between the Crystal figurine company and the video game Halo is currently taking place. This is currently taking place in order to put out a sweepstakes for a couple of little Halo collectibles. Let me actually pull up a picture for anyone watching this stream.
I am dying because I need to admit I have indeed entered my email.
I entered too.
The survey at the end where like they're asking what other games would you. I assure you, I checked in Among Us. We needed.
Oh yeah. Me
absolutely.
too. Hold on. I just have to show people
titles.
these.
I'm curious as to like if they will actually commit, but Among Us needed to be checked.
I'm hoping so. So like
those little guys need to be in, Swarovski Crystal Farm.
They have these really funny looking like Master Chief helmet, and then like
helmet and
an energy sword. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's so silly looking. I did the exact same thing you did. I went and entered. There's that amazing form at the end that's like, what other games would you like to see collaborations of in the future? And I literally only checked Among Us and nothing else. Because all the other ones are like, they're very standard games. PUBG is in there for some reason.
I'm going to read the list. Minecraft, Fortnite, League of Legends, Tetris, PUBG, Super Mario Brothers, and Mario Kart. I don't know why they're two distinct names. Pokemon, World of Warcraft, Animal Crossing, Roblox, Call of Duty, Sonic the Hedgehog. I checked Sonic the Hedgehog. Legend of Zelda, The Sims, Among Us, and other. Among Us is last. Among Us needs to be noticed.
I know. It's like there's no other pick on there funnier than Among Us. Because it's like it's just one of those little guys. Like, what else could you make?
What's really weird is that they did not specify what the helmet and energy sword will be. Like, is it a pendant? Is it going to be?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I have no clue. How big. Okay,
specifying what piece of jewelry this is, or if it's really just here's a giant ass like crystal replica of the helmet you could display on your desk, I guess. But
my mom used to sell crystals, so I feel like I have a good idea of how big these would actually be. Oh, but if they were like tiny, I think they would definitely be like a desk piece. Like they wouldn't be like full size. Like as funny as it would be to put on a Master Chief crystal helmet, but it's like it would probably be
encrusted.
It would probably be like bigger than a keychain, But I also wouldn't be surprised if these were like extremely tiny too. There's also no way to buy them. Like they're only available via sweepstakes.
Only on the sweepstakes.
Which is very funny.
Sir, I've got drip.
Oh man.
As pendant. Oh man.
Oh, it's so good. All right, that's it for news. Let's move on to our questions. If you are with us in the chat, please go ahead, post questions. I'll go into the Discord right now. I'll tell them.
We are live.
We are live.
Anything can happen.
Live in charge of stuff. We got 3 people watching.
We're in the metaverse.
No.
I got one ask. Want to become famous by no.
We got. So I do actually have a bunch of questions in the inbox, but all but one of them have to do with Kamen Rider, so I'm guessing they're from the anime podcast.
That's from a recent, yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and scrap those.
Definitely none of the Kamen Rider ones.
All
Fair.
right. And our one question from Tumblr, which again, if you or for the first time because I haven't actually said yet, if you want to send us a question, one you can send it in the chat. We're listening. We're here. We want them. Two, you can go to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask, and you can leave a question there, and you can send a lot like shoeless ass. How often do you feel video game characters need wardrobe changes? The biggest example I can think of is Link. Breath of the Wild was a big change for Link, but it definitely helped update the character. I love wardrobe changes. I love it when like established characters just suddenly start wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there you go. We got a cute dress wardrobe change going on
Ooh.
here. Ooh, look at
Yeah.
that. It's a very
I
cute
mean, wardrobe changes are like the most important part of any game. Like,
dress.
how can you not? Like, you gotta
Oh, yeah.
look cute.
Yeah, that's really
I
dress.
mean, legitimately, I've got like 900 outfits for my character. Like,
It's so funny that like anytime I think of that they tried to change Master Chief in Halo, people just fucking hated it. And
I think
it's right. It's right to hate it because it sucks.
Yeah, I think it depends on the character in itself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if there's any sort of actual growth or progression in the character, then of course you need to replicate that through the outfit. Like, Samus Aran, of course you're going to get that outfit changed. One, game to game, you have to show that progression of zero mastery to full on mastery. But two, everything gets affected. Metroid Dread Samus is, of course, going to be leagues different from Metroid 1 Samus because there's a whole set of narrative there. Mario, though, like, that was more a case of figuring out the right design. But then once you got the design, more or less, you've got the character for as long as you need them. And then, when you want to have fun, yeah, sure, you have alternate outfits and like costumes, but at no point is it ever going to be a serious retooling of the character. Sonic, honestly, the Sonic Boom designs, when they were trying to like redo that whole franchise or trying to have something that was an alternate, I didn't mind them because it definitely wanted to do something in a direction where, yeah, still keeping true to a concept of what each character could be, but nothing too egregious or like outside of what fans recognize of those characters.
Yeah, my big problem with the Sonic Boom designs is like there's just so much tape, you know? Like I think
Yeah.
about them wearing it and it's like that's gotta suck to take off. Like that's just sticky,
Knuckles-
it's all up in their fur, like ugh. Ugh.
Knuckles could do with the tape. You should have given like racing gloves, like fingerless gloves for Sonic.
Oh, Sonic needs fingerless gloves. I have been on this fucking tear for ages now. I 100% believe Sonic needs fingerless gloves.
yes.
For sure. And then like, basically if the easiest way to conceptualize it, anytime your game gets a sequel, you got to change up that outfit in some capacity. Keep the color motif if you need to. But, easiest thing, what is your homie going to get a coat? Is your homie going to get, are they going to take off a coat? Are they doing something different? Shout out to the Trail series because they know how to update character designs in a way that replicates character growth.
I love when a character gets a coat.
It's such
Yeah.
a good addition.
It's so
It
sick.
shows mastery. A coat signifies being a boss in the non-derogatory sense.
That's a problem with like games that start characters off with coats is like it never feels earned, you know? Like
Yeah.
no one liked Aiden Pierce because he's got just like this terrible looking trench coat and the worst ball cap. His iconic cap, sorry.
Excuse me. Yes. It's not because of the trench coat. It's
But
because the
it's
trench
like
coat
no, go ahead.
it conflicted with his iconic cap.
Of
so
course,
they both
yeah.
ended up looking bad. If he just had the iconic cap, he would have had an iconic cap. But he also tried to have an iconic trench coat and ended up looking like a giant asshole. And hey, he even came to the newest one, and that game is still hot garbage.
Mhm. But the thing to me is like I think if you start your character off with a trench coat and like they haven't had the like years of experience in order to earn one, it always feels like cheap and unearned to me. You know,
It
even
Well,
if
at
it's
that
like
point,
even if it's like a new even if it's like a new game but your character is like old and grizzled, in that sense it's like, okay, yeah, I kind of buy that this character would get a trench coat. Aiden
I mean,
Pierce to
listen.
me
Oh my god.
has not earned it.
I was gonna say, the best example of that, or one of the best modern examples, Mega Man base, Mega Man Battle Network base. Give They gave him a fucking cloak because he's a spectral being and it kicks ass. It's so good. But
You
also,
should give every character a cloak. When they had that
Yes.
trailer where Master Chief comes out in a cloak, it's like, oh, perfect, you figured it out. But then he takes it
dude,
off, so
dude,
it's like,
fucking Metal Gear Solid 3. One, you always have the Tiger Stripe. That's Tiger Stripe
oh
cheese.
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5, you have the little scarf. Immediately enhances the character.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he takes the bandana off in 5. Like
It's so good.
He's done with it by then.
He's
Ah.
the best. Oh my god. It's the little things. It's the little
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm. So when he stops being Snake and he starts being Big Boss, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Man.
The biggest of bosses.
That's, like, the one game I can think of too where it actually does the cinematic trope of, like, the wardrobe change happening as a progression of the character
Mm-hmm.
changing in the same game, because, again, like, video games, it tends to be, yeah, it happens in the sequel, like, oh, they get a little older, or, like, um, I think a very strange, silly example, I think of Final Fantasy X and X2.
Of
And
course.
how in X2, everyone became a little sexier for some reason, and I know there's inherently definitely a sexist tone to it, but I love that game, and just how, like, just the shift of,
That
like,
game
Yuna's
had better
the shift of Yuna's
blitzball.
character, which is a very, obvious, like, symbol. It's like, oh, she's just a little more, like, looser and, like, more independent, so I'm just gonna do wherever I want, like, hell yeah, it's Y2K.
It's
Let's
so
just get it.
it's so funny because it's like the character in the last game is like just the most like I am the most Christian. I am the priestess.
Yes!
Like I'm the
My
summoner.
Mormon, like, shrine
Exactly.
outfit.
I have to
And
wear this like this huge dress with this staff
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
everyone knows how chaste I am. And
right.
then in fucking like 10-2 she's wearing just fucking like some like she's out for summer with her girlfriends,
It's
you know?
yeah, with
And
her
she's got
girlfriend,
guns
and then
this time.
yeah,
oh, hell yeah.
you gotta have guns.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about examples of this of the big change happening mid game because again, it's easy to do it with sequel to sequel.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think about where it is like mid game.
Yeah, it's hard to think of.
Oh God, no! I just thought about it. So one, Jack and Daxter, the series overall,
Mhm.
immediately has that, but Jack 3 specifically has the additional thing where throughout the game you're collecting like pieces of armor from this old hero or whatever, and like you just see that visible change on Jack as he goes through the narrative, and it just is a nice little piece of just like slowly building up this character who is supposed to be the epitome of a hero in his world, and it's just a very good detail as you're just like closing this narrative arc of a dude like flushed with adventure, and then in the middle of Jack 2 just nothing but dark depressing strife, and then by the end of Jack 3 it has come to terms with everything that's happened and is just at least a grown reflection of that like bright young protagonist. Fuck, I gotta buy those games again.
They're good.
They're so good.
I'll actually give like one of the credit to Tales of Arise. I actually really like that as you go through the game, the main two characters change their outfits, like, and not in a hey, I attached silly things to it, but like your look significantly changes of Alphen, the main character, as the game goes on. Like when you start, he's in a iron mask, and
Right.
then that slowly breaks away, and then he gets a full-on outfit change. And same with the other character there has like Shion has like 4 costume changes, and they work really well with the story. Uh, so I will always give credit for that when
All
it
right,
works well with the story.
Nice. I'm gonna post one more in chat real quick.
Absolutely. Hit it.
Oh, I
I
posted it
also
in our
love.
Discord chat.
Oh
Oh, that's
God.
fine.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, hold on.
yeah.
Let me go ahead and
It is considered.
let me go ahead and show everyone.
Content.
There we go. There,
That was a really blunt suggestion.
Look what I found in the cyber world.
I also love a good old for this tends to be mostly like sim games, like farming sims, Animal Crossing, like just a simple seasonal outfit change. Like it just
Mhm.
Ooh,
adds
yep.
a lot. It's like, oh,
Oh, I
okay,
love that. I love that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yes.
Oh my god,
It's
yeah. I
Isabel
was
in her
thinking
like
about this.
autumn winter
Mhm.
cardigan. Tom Nook in his
Spe-
dad Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I mentioned this to fucking John last podcast, but Diamond and Pearl to Platinum were like giving the protagonists coats and fun little winter
Oh,
outfits
yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
boosts the atmosphere for that
Mhm.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I also like. Yeah, I also just generally like games where over the course of the game, like I've been playing through Fallout New Vegas, and it's like over the course of that game, like you have the same character. The character is like unchanging, but like you're finding all of these cool, sick ass armor sets, and it's like by the end of it, you're probably wearing like extremely huge, big armor.
Mhm.
But if you're like me, you've also been you've also been on the side like putting together your like going into town clothes because it's like you don't want to be wearing armor all the time. It's like, I think Fallout 4 actually does that fairly well in that it turns the like the power armor into like a vehicle you get into. So while you're still like making your armor set or whatever on the side out of like actual armor pieces, you can just like ignore that completely and just like put on whatever fit you want. Plus, that game actually gives you like options instead of New Vegas. Like you get head stuff, you get glasses, but the outfit's just a full on outfit. It just depends on when and how soon you find a trench coat. Depending on how you're role playing, of course. Not
A
everyone.
truly iconic trench coat. You don't
Not
start with it; you earn it.
Oh,
exactly.
another quick shout out, Psychonauts 2.
Hmm.
You go from Raz's gear in the first game, and very quickly you just give him a little Sasha 9 outfit, and it just really fits. It is a fun little like narrative in terms of his own setup, but also it's just a nice design.
We love clothes.
Clothes are nice.
Try as I might, I have been trying. I've been trying to get people to send us more questions. It looks like people, for the most part, have had their questions answered, which is just in terms of like actualization, just like really good. Like honestly, good for them. I really respect that they don't feel like they need their questions answered
Gamer
today.
clarity.
Exactly, pure gamer clarity. So I think that's gonna do it for the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. Where can we find all of you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Judgment Scythe.
Nice. Ever?
You can find me on Twitter over at Mavsplania. That is at MAVSPLANIA. Just shooting the shit, shooting the breeze, gaming when I can, and uh, life continues to go on in my neck of the woods.
Nice.
As always, we're outside.
Elvie?
I'm still online for the PS5, but you can find me at Twitter at LVMAEPARIAN.
Nice. I'm Scott Blah on Twitter, SCOTTBLAH. You can find everything we do at videogamechoochoo.com. Our Twitter is at VGChooChoo. Our Tumblr, videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com. Add yourself a /ask if you want to ask us questions. Our Facebook is facebook.com/videogamechoochoo. YouTube.com/videogamechoochoo. twitch.tv/VGChoo, which hopefully you're watching right now. Patreon.com/VGCC. You can go ahead there and subscribe to our Express Pass, which is our $3 for content a week early. We've got a bunch of exciting stuff coming up there soon. LV, I believe you've got something big coming up, right?
I think I do. Maybe.
Awesome.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
We
Probably
also
probably interviews, probably more. If you follow the anime podcast, yeah, I regularly try to have a little roundup of my dumb notes of the things we watch. So
nice.
that's there too.
We also currently have an episode of the Starlight Card that is up for patrons. That's going to be going up for free soon. You can listen to it right now on patreon.com/VGCC. My secret project is actually, so we're done recording it. I just got to put it together. That's where we're at. And then once that's done, everyone's going to be able to see it. I'm very excited. That's also going to have a very exclusive Patreon bent to it. We want people to give us money because turns out site hosting is expensive. We just moved to a higher tier of hosting, which is like 3 times more expensive than what we were paying before. But if you've been on our website and you've seen some errors just trying to load stuff, you'll know we needed it. So that's just how it is. If you want to come hang out with us, come to the GameZone.zone. That's our Discord. Our music is Crush by Melt Channel. Off the album Magic is Real. You can check out them and their other act Magic Circuit at meltchannel.bandcamp.com and magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. Anything else I have missed at all? Is anyone got anything cool coming up?
Oh, it's freezing.
Yeah. Outside of my dancing.
It's true. Oh my god, you guys are right. It is the winter season, which means Game of the Year is around the corner.
It is coming.
Oh god.
I hate to even say it because that is to bring it into existence, but we have to face the fact that Game of the Year. We've already decided we're doing like we did last year. We're putting it out in January. Other than that, we haven't really planned anything else, but we will figure it out like we always do.
Yep.
All right. I think that's gonna call it for the Video Game Choo podcast. Goodbye, good night, bang, and chugga chugga choo choo. Bye bye.